It's a nice early November night, afternoon. The sun's starting to go down on my backyard. And sitting out here, I think it was on my lead-based paint video, Alyssa Clegg from Toxic Threads responded, "Our politicians are so stupid." And within 24 hours, I was doing something. I found a newspaper from 1996. And I've been meaning to make this video ever since, on the subject of our politicians are so stupid. The story on this is something I remember specifically. I did not get involved in it, but I knew a lot of people that did. And the topic is derivatives. Now, derivatives are an investment product. I don't even know if anybody does them anymore because they're such a disaster. But you start off with a company and they project that they're going to make $1 million this year, in the next fiscal year. So that's their projection. So you invest in that promised $1 million. So you put $100,000 into it, and now they got to make $100,000 less to meet their goal of $1 million. So if whatever period of time you're looking at, they beat that $1 million, then you get your $100,000 plus a percentage on that increased profit. Now, if they don't meet their $1 million, say they're $100,000 short, then you lose your $100,000. And a lot of things there's a lot of variables that will cause that company to make their $1 million. And that could be the CEO set something really high, hoping that the stock price will jump so that he can cash in some stock options that he got last Christmas as a bonus and make $2 million. It could be that they're leveraged high and the interest rates go up a point, and all of a sudden that profit goes into making payments on debt. It could be somebody comes out with a better product and their sales drop. It could be anything. But in any event, what your goal is that they beat that $1 million so that you get your money back plus a percentage of the extra profits. And it's a horrible idea. It's a horrible thing to place bets on. But anyway, in the late 80s, it started. So I don't remember who invented it, but they came up with the financial product called derivatives. And by, I don't know, the early 90s, a lot of the big brokerage houses were pushing them, but they were kind of trying to confuse them with options, which is you are basically betting whether a stock's going to go up or down, and you buy the option to buy it at a certain price. And if it goes up and you're not going to get your money back, then you don't exercise your option, you just lose that money. If you can make money on making the deal, then you exercise your option and you buy the stock, and then you flip it to some poor sucker for a lot more than you paid for it. But a lot of brokerage firms were trying to confuse the two, and a lot of people started getting involved in them, thinking it was the quickest way to get rich. And some of the big funds, like the Orange County Retirement Fund, they got into it really big, and they ended up losing $2 billion. And then it was brought before Congress to find out if they're actually safe. And that's what this article is that I found. As witnesses testify, there's no need for new legislation on derivatives. And I'll read about it. Representatives of local governments and the securities and banking industries told Congress yesterday there is no need for new legislation on the use of derivatives, despite the $2 billion loss that pushed Orange County, California into bankruptcy. So, long story short, that's how big the losses you could take if things don't go perfect. And they're a really good example. So, they investigated. The end of the investigations is Congress, everybody got together and they all decided there's no reason because the financial markets will regulate themselves. The market exploded when they basically got a clean bill of health, and the derivatives markets exploded to tens of billions of dollars traded on a regular basis. I mean, it just exploded bigger than the stock market, bigger than the security. Just the biggest exchange going was derivatives, and but ironically, this article was in. Find the date on it. January 7th, 95. Yeah, January 7th, 95. Shortly, so my son was 6 months old. Within 12 months, some of the biggest hedge funds and investment firms were all going bankrupt one after another, leading to the big banking crisis of the late 90s, kind of ruining the economy. Because these guys, they started off with a good cause like in the PTA or animal rights or open space in our neighborhoods. And they worked their way up through the ladder, and then the next thing you know, they're in charge of the big machine down in Washington, D.C., and they don't know shit about anything except open rights at home, open space rights at home, or the PTA, or whatever hometown issue propelled them up to, big office. And then they get baffled by the bullshit, by the experts, and we ended up having a major banking collapse. I'm sure a lot of people remember that. But in any event, that's ended up blowing up into the disastrous first year of George Bush. But anyway, and now I'm starting to get sidetracked. But anyway, great example of Alyssa Clegg's Toxic Threads comment that our politicians are so stupid. Have a great day.